Hello, this is Eugene Piri, and this right here is Extra Time, Zambia's premier sports podcast, where you get the facts, get the drama, and you definitely get involved through our various social media channels, such as our YouTube channel and our Facebook page with the same name. Today, what we are discussing is something that looks pretty straightforward. But is it? We're talking about Zambian football. So much has been said about where we are and where we stand. The World Cup, we are missing it. Some people are saying the standards have dwindled. Have they? What really does it take to make a team? What does it take to nurture talent? Those and many other issues, what we are discussing this afternoon, or should I say today, on Extra Time. Now, with me today to help me dissect and break the standard of football and where we are today is Mr. Lee Kawanu. Now, Lee Kawanu is the proprietor of Kafue Celtics. Lee, welcome.
Thank you so much, Eugene. It's a pleasure to be on Extra Time for the first time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I'm kind of used to calling you Master Lee, so at least for the purposes of this interview, allow me to call you that. I feel very uncomfortable calling you Lee. And I think most of us in football circles are comfortable calling you that. Now, I've introduced you as the proprietor of Kafue Celtic. Now, the question is, very few people know who Kafue Celtic, or let me not say very few people. For those who don't know who or what Kafue Celtic is, can you just give us a brief background of Kafue Celtic?
Yeah, well, Kafue Celtic is a team that I started in 2002. That was when I completed college or dropped out of college to start a business, which I decided to set up in Kafue because I grew up there as a kid. So once I was there with my business, I noticed that there was no football being played in any league, apart from the local district league. So, and then I was approached by two coaches who had a list of like 40 players, and among them, interestingly, was Jackson Mwanza. By then, I think he was in grade 9 or something. So I looked at the course, went to FAS. I was told it's the wrong place to start. Went to Soweto, where we, used to register for amateur, and got the details of what it costs and everything. And I thought, if Abramovich can do it, then maybe I can also try. But basically, having grown up around football, it was exciting to think of owning a team. At that time, I had no clue what it would cost, what it would take in terms of financially and mentally as well, over the years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of how it began. Just a brief background why I started it in Kafue, because I grew up there and my father was a team manager for Nitrogen Stars, which was sponsored by Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia.
Sure.
So I was around football. And on top of that, my dad, having grown up in Usakile, it seems he grew up with some of the people that were involved in Ghana.
Football, yeah.
And he was very close with Bamfchili especially. So I suspect they knew each other from way back. And he was, very close to the team. So whenever Nkana would be in Lusaka, I would be there for the games.
Are you a Nkana fan?
Not anymore. I can't say that publicly. But anyway, I did grow up in Nkana fan.
Okay.
Because of that and because of mingling with the players also. If the team wins, I would know for sure we're going to Pamozi. That time Nkana used to camp at Pamozi. And I would mingle with people like Beston Chambeshi, all the legends, Gibim Basela, those period.
Days, yeah.
Yeah, Malitoli, who was kind of a relative distant to us. I grew up around that. And being back in Kafue and finding that there's no football really being played, organized football, apart from the district league, I felt I needed to do something about it. And that's how I started my team in amateur, got promoted to Division 2, FAS, and
you had an example of the Premier League the other year.
Eventually, yeah.
So I must say congratulations, and I think that in itself is a huge contribution to Zambia's football. Now, looking back, what has been your major highlight that you can say, okay, I think when we did this, I think for me it was like the epitome of where I needed to go? Or if you haven't been there, what would you say is your highlight?
Yeah, well, the journey so far is 23 years, because I started in 2002. So you can't have one highlight for sure, But what sticks out mainly for me is the starting of the team, of course. That was exciting, going unbeaten the whole season. After being beaten in the first game by Para, we went unbeaten and got promoted. So that was quite a highlight to get me into the whole football fever. But yeah, fast forward to 2009 or 10, I was invited by the late GK, George Kasengele, who was GS at the time. I think it was GS, 2010 maybe, somewhere there. He invited me as an administrator to take part in a course that was being run by FIFA in Chisamba. So after that, that's when my mind kind of opened, like, oh, football is actually a business, you know. And also that coupled with the sale of Chisamba Lungu, who we had loaned to Zanaco for 2 seasons, and then we loaned him to Georgia and then sold him to Russia for a good amount of $50,000 at the time. It was like a huge amount for me, you know.
Your Chisamba Lungu is your product?
Yes. He's from around, he's been in Chawama, he's got a lot of roots, but he did pass through our hands. I think at the time he was in grade 8. He was really small. So we took him, but not really to play. You know, one of those players you say, oh, this is for the future. But in the same season, he started playing.
Eventually.
You know, so he used to play front line with Jackson Mwanza on one side, him on the other side, and we had another striker in the middle. So, so Chisamba was one of the eye-openers for me personally, that you can actually get something back. So it had been maybe 8 years or so of just spending and losing. The business I talked about in Kafue tanked after 2 years. Then I went into the transport business. I had a bus, which I drove myself as well. You know, I would drive the players to the games, and during the week I would raise money doing Kafue Lusaka trips as a driver with one of my boys from the team who was a conductor, so I would use him. So it was exciting to. So the business closed down in Kafue. I had to move in with my brother for a few years while I was running the transport business. I managed to get 2 more buses. That also failed. I think anyone who's been in the transport business knows why it failed. It's one of the toughest businesses to run. Plus, when you're spending most of the money on the team, it's even harder. So I went into construction after that, and that's what helped me buy Lusaka Celtic, by the way. So the team started as Kafue Football Club.
Okay.
Then we had a team called Lusaka Celtic, started by someone else in 2000, I think, 2 years earlier than me. And that team was given up by the person that started it. And the people he left it with decided to sell. So I bought Lusaka Celtic.
And you merged the two.
I merged the two and then kept it in Lusaka for a season. But I saw by then, that's around the same time that I thought of football as business. Around the same time I did the course. So it didn't make sense for me to have players who were sharing problems that are even bigger than mine. I had one player that had a wife that had breast cancer, you know, like there was serious issues and I was quite young then to be dealing with such problems for players. So, I decided the following season to just keep only the younger players and merge them with Kafue Football Club players that I had that were doing very well and made one team. And that's how Kafue Celtic was born in 2009. Okay, so... and we still kept Kafue Football Club as our feeder club. So we had 2 teams, one in the what we'd call National Division 1 now, and the other one was in Division 2. So, that's like the brief journey of Kafue Celtic. So,
that's interesting.
That's the middle point, I would say. That was the beginning of commercializing Kafue Celtic.
Yeah, I think, and truly you seem to have maintained that identity, because out here we know you as somebody who's built a reputation for developing young talent. So in so doing, what are some of the challenges that you face in nurturing talent? There's a lot that you've done, and I think as we unfold during this show, we'll pick out some names. But what have been some of your challenges in nurturing talent?
Yeah, well, first, the process of learning obviously was a huge challenge. You know, I think back to my first years of running football, the excitement of winning a game. I was chatting with some of my first players over the weekend. They came to watch our game for the Young Crocs. And I was remembering how when we'd win a game, we'd actually go to a bar and drink shake with the players and the coaches. And I think back now, and how can you do such a thing as an administrator? And the funny thing is that that's happening with some people out there, you know what I mean, who are just starting out and learning. So yeah, the biggest challenge was not knowing how to run youth football. I knew I had to do it. I got young players, but still I didn't know how to nurture them at the time. So I think the knowledge came with time. Obviously, in 2012, I won an election, went into FAS, was put in charge of youth football. And that's where like the learning really began, because I would travel with the national teams to Nigeria, and I would find out from them, how come you guys are at the World Cup every year with your under 20s, under 17s, like what are we doing differently? Because when I look at our players playing, in terms of the skills and the talent they have, it's the same. You guys, physically, maybe you develop a bit better, but I think we're talented enough. So I learned a lot during that period. Meeting Carlo also, is you're asking about highlights. That was an highlight for me to meet him and actually work with him, and him entrusting me with youth football like he did, where he just said, just tell me what you need done and it will be done. And it was good to work in that environment with him, and the connection he has. I think everyone knows the connections that Carlo has out there, and he was not selfish, and is not selfish in connecting people. You know, that's the good thing about him. And I would say the highlight again was meeting Kanute in 2015, because that kind of changed everything. That was a game changer for me, because now I had someone close to me who understood football from both the European side and the African side. Because Kanute had been running or helping a team in Mali for a few years before I met him, or a couple of years. He had just started his company. So it was kind of like a marriage made in heaven, and it's produced after that. I think we'll talk about some of the things that have happened after that. But I would say basically, in terms of highlights, that's some of the highlights. The challenges, if we want to look at the challenges, they're multiple. But I would say...
could funding be one of them?
Funding is obviously, you don't even have to say anything about that, because when you talk about the basics that are required for, developing a player, it's a good pitch, good equipment, but a good coach as well who understands youth football is very important.
A good coach who understands youth football. We had Vespa Janza the other time, and he was talking about academies, saying we are talking, so much is being said about development of football, and we're looking at the youth, and we're saying academies are playing a big role. So having seen around, do you agree with his sentiments to say there's need to scrutinize the coaches that are managing or running these academies?
He's 100% correct. But I would go further to say, as much as academies are, the source of the players, or have a big role to play in developing Zambian football, like a huge role to play, unfortunately, they are not. And I don't want to preempt what we're going to discuss, but I can tell you that the problem is beginning with us as academies. I would put myself there because we're kind of like an academy. The problem starts with the academies and the schools. This is where our players are getting damaged. And the damage is long-term. So if you don't teach a kid from about 5 to 6 years, like 6 years somewhere to about 15 max, if you don't teach him how to trap the ball, how to position himself, it's very difficult after that, unless he's an Enoch Mwep. You know what I mean?
With it.
Someone who's naturally just got that thing about him. He just knows where to be, how to move, how to scan. No one taught Enoch how to scan. I got him when he was 14 or 15 years old, for example. He already did those things. He was missing some things, of course, because he didn't learn them.
He knew the basics.
Yeah, but I would say... Jasper is right, but I think there's more to it than just the coaching component. I think coaching is one of the key things. And when I said the schools, it's the same thing. We have our kids. Where are our kids between the ages of 6 and 14? Most of them are not in any real organized football team. They're not at Zanaco. They're not at Celtic, most of them. They're at secondary schools. They're at Munali, at Chizongwe. You know what I mean? But who's training them there? And those are the people who are handling them most of the time.
Yeah.
They only get to see academy coaches maybe when they're on holidays.
The weekend.
You see, on
yeah.
weekends. Yeah.
So with that in mind, how do you then, you've got a team that is under 14, how do you spot talent? How do you are saying, like, I don't know, how do you, he's 4, 5, 6 years old. Can you see the talent in there? How do you spot the talent?
Yeah, you can. But unfortunately, we're not set up yet to, like, for us, the youngest player we have, I think, is 9 from rural Ndola, and I think he's in grade 4 or something like that, or grade 3. But if you go younger, it's a bit difficult because we keep our players. There are about 100 players we keep from the age of 9 up to about 20 for our main team players. Okay?
When you say you keep, elaborate more.
We have a complex that we've built where the players stay in, like dorm setup. The senior players have their own rooms they share, but it's like a boarding house for the players.
Okay, like a mini school for football.
Mini boarding house because we don't have school there yet.
Okay.
We keep them there and they go to school. So we have like an agreement with Munali.
Okay.
So all our boys that are grade 8 up to 12, they go to Munali school.
Oh, okay.
So when we get them from West End, from Samfia, from wherever we get them.
Also, there's continuity.
Yes.
Okay.
For primary, we've got another school that they go. So in the morning, the bus takes them to school. In the afternoon, they're training, for those who are at school.
Okay. And how is it going so far? That looks like the only model we have. Correct me if I'm wrong, but how is it going?
It is the only one right now. But it's going well. And hopefully when we finish our school, it will even be easier. Because right now, our training schedules are determined by what time the kids knock off. So we have like 5 or 6 boys who struggle to make it for training because they knock off at 16:30, and they start school at 13. So it's tricky to control. But yeah, I think when you have such facilities, when you invest in this kind of facility, that's why I said, facilities are important. Equipment, the right equipment is important, and then the right coaching. But one key fourth part, which is the first one, is the thing you've mentioned, which is spotting the talent. We compromise too much on that in Zambia. We mistake a good player to be good enough. It's not enough. The national team, for example, requires exceptional players. In a population of 20 million, you should have at least 11 exceptional players. You know what I mean? But that's a whole different story of how to get those exceptional players from a young age to all the way to the senior level. You know what I mean? A lot of things happen between that age of 6 or 9 or 10 that we're talking about scouting up to the senior team. So that's another story, that something else that needs to be really looked at and worked on. But yeah, scouting is like the number one thing that you should do, and you should not compromise. So you're asking me how we scout. There are things that can be listed, okay, like positioning, the technical things that the coaches look for. But for me, I think it's more just the years of looking at players so much, it's almost become like a natural thing for me.
Second nature.
Yeah, second nature to see a player and say he's got something. And that's another thing people don't understand. I've had people come to me and say, I've got this player, he's got speed, he's got some skills, he shoots on goal. Meaning he's got maybe the 4 attributes. They're like 4 or 5 attributes: the physical strength, speed, skill, and technical awareness, and then you have the mentality as well of the person, the player. All these things we look at. But one thing I've learned from Fred Kanute is that we make a mistake and think the player should have all these 4 or 5. But that's not how it works. Even when players go for trial, they know that African players will always lag behind, especially in the tactical side of the game. But they always look for one exceptional attribute. So to get a special player, he has to have one special talent. So for example, Patson is not good in terms of 1v1 dribble, but what he had when he went to Red Bull Salzburg was super speed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's without proper training that they've trained him and made him even faster there. And then he had the finishing, obviously, at that time. We know he's going through a dry spell. It's another story. But the fact is, he's a great finisher, So you have to have one attribute that sticks out. Either you are super strong, you know what I mean, as a number 9 or as a center back, or you are very good tactically, like Enoch was, where you're aware of your environment and you move the ball quick. You look slow, but you move the ball quick. So there are all these things that we look at.
All right, and as we veer off, because there's a lot really to unpack here. So as we veer off maybe youth football or youth development, in summation for you, a lot of credit has been given to you in terms of what you achieved with the Rising Stars leading up to being champions in 2017 under Kalushabwala's administration. What would be your summary of the state of youth development or youth football development? I don't know which expression to use here. What in general is your summary of the state of football as far as youth development is concerned?
Yeah, so most people are quick to rush to point the finger at FAS. But what we don't realize is that FAS does not control what Celtic does. You know, no one can come and tell me which age group to get, what kind of players, you know, how young my team should be. No one's going to tell me that. It's me who's decided that my team, the main team, will always be under 20. Anyone over 20 has to find a club. Or if we don't find them a club. That's our policy. So my point is, FAS can only create an environment. So whether they are creating an environment that's conducive or not, that's, you know, an issue to debate. So anyone has their own opinion, depends.
Are they? Has FAS created that environment in your view?
I think the TD tried to do some things, okay? Some programs were on. I think we, for example, never really used to give the provinces.
You are saying it in the past tense, sorry, but I'm looking at past and present tense.
I'm combining it. I'm talking about from yesterday going backwards.
Okay.
Or from today going backwards.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that we never used to have an opportunity where a province brings a team, okay, that they've made themselves there. And they come here and they try and compete for a national team position, you know. So I feel like that decentralization has also helped.
It's helped, okay.
You know, Simute would have probably never been seen if it wasn't for this kind of setup.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's creating that environment. But where's Simute from? Mkushi United or what? He's from Mkushi. So that team, what are they doing to make sure another Simute is seen? You know what I mean? The next time they call a Central Province team to come here. That's the challenge that is there. For me, I would rather look at it that way. I would rather look at what I'm not yet doing. And there's a lot I feel I'm still not doing, to be honest. But if I am saying there's still a lot I need to do, can you imagine the so-called academies that we hear out there? Everyone's got the tag of academy.
Yeah.
But what are they really doing? You know, so I think the atmosphere could be better, or the environment for us. And you've heard me talk about this whole thing of, I think you said, Jasper mentioned it as well. What I feel is that academies need to be regulated, you know, because academies by nature are age restricted. So already that's something that needs to be regulated, you know. And then the issue of coaching, it's not a secret. Our players, we're just lucky to have Klings, is it Klings or Kings?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Okay, so Kings, I like to call him Kings. Yeah. So Kings, we're just lucky that he's naturally skillful and quick, and you know, and the little years that he's been in Europe, they've added some things for him to be able to play the way he plays. Or Lamek, who doesn't remember Lamek at under 17, who used to run all the way until he comes out the other side without passing the ball. But look at how he's playing now. So he had it in him.
And
it's just that we didn't train him right. You know, you can imagine players like that, if they were picked at 6 by Real Madrid and they were training them, we would be talking about Vinicius and all these kind of players.
Talking about taking the players to Real Madrid or Europe, how has it been for you? How many players have passed through your hands to go into Europe?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because going to Europe is relative.
But okay.
Maybe 15.
15. How easy is it? I know usually with your relationship with Kanute, you help break certain barriers and get there. But we come to think of it, 15. I think the most prominent are Patson and Enoch Mwepu.
Maybe Chisamba.
Chisamba, I would say, I would add that. We are not seeing them into the national team. Where's the disconnect there? Do we have too much talent that?
So the talent that we've taken out after Patson and Enoch, it's still it's talent that we just got together through scouting. We're getting them at 15, 16, players like that. And they were already made. We just added a bit and then they went off. So we didn't produce, I wouldn't say they were top players, okay? Like the way I would rate Enoch, for example. But what we did in 2015, after Kanute came to visit and insisted, that's when we started the baby crocs. Okay, we only had the baby crocs.
How many crocs do you have?
There are crocs everywhere these days. There are about 9 teams.
9 teams?
Yeah.
Okay, different age groups.
Here in Osaka, we have 5. So baby crocs, U12, little crocs, U14, junior crocs, U16.
You finish all the crocs.
Young crocs, which is in Division 1, Lusaka, U18, and the main team, U20.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the 5. Then we have the ladies in Kafue. We have Senanga Crocs, Barotse Crocs in Mongu, and now Copper Crocs in Ndola. So that's, and then we obviously have affiliate academies in almost all the provinces that we work with.
Wow, that's a massive structure right there.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the standard of football today.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about fans, especially. I think a lot of us fans feel that our football standards have dropped over the years. Do you agree with such sentiments? You can interpret standards the way you want to, but...
Yeah, no, I want to be as neutral as possible. I mean, because I'm also involved. Remember that I was also in FAS for 9 years.
You're
so
part of the system.
Whatever I'm going to say, I'm also part of whatever has happened. So I don't think the standard has dropped. I think other people have done something deliberately to improve, and we haven't really done enough. That's how I would put it. So we're kind of still in the stage where we are relying on the natural talent of our players, which we are naturally gifted in Zambia, by the way. In the region, I would say we are one of the most gifted in terms of football.
Natural talent.
Just natural talent. But my own, and this is not scientific, it's not by Alex Ferguson, it's my own. I would say talent covers only about 20 to 30% of what a professional player needs to become a professional player. You know what I mean? There's so many things that make up to reach 100%. That's why you have players who are not that talented, like Carragher, for example, who's played at the highest level. Why? Because he works hard and he has all the other things that are required. Sleeping right, eating right, things like that. So, I don't think our standards have changed much.
Okay.
If they've gone up, I would actually say they've gone up a bit. But the problem is everyone else, Lesotho, Botswana are doing a bit more in terms of, creating the environment I was talking about. For academies to thrive. Because whatever you're going to say, at the end of the day, we, the academies, are the ones to blame for what's happening 10 years, or what's going to happen 10 years from now. So what we did 10 years ago, or 5 to 10 years ago, is what we're reaping now.
So we should have fixed it 10 years ago.
That's the only way to fix. Morocco has won the under 20
World Cup. Yes.
You go and find out what they did.
Yeah.
You will find out that there was a change in their whole approach.
Yes.
They've increased academies. They've opened themselves up, started bringing in high-level coaches for the academies and things, and opening academies that are big there. Of course, they have the advantage of, I think, maybe 80% of the team is European anyway.
Yeah. Well, but you have to get into Europe first.
Exactly. So you have to create, the base.
Yeah.
And Cape Verde, Mauritius, No, Mauritius is too small. What's the other team that gives
Madagascar,
us?
is it?
There's small teams that give us problems.
Comoros. Is it?
Yeah, those small teams, Seychelles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've interacted with like their TDs and stuff in maybe years ago, and I was seeing what they were doing and planning, you know, and you could see it on the pitch. Like the kids would be doing the right things, but they're just not talented enough to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have the structures, you can have the coaching. So the kids will be able to do the basics. Like if you're starting from the back, this is how you move. They will make the movements. But then if they're playing against Zambia, because Zambia is faster, quicker, harder, the system will still not work. You know what I mean? But over years, when they reach senior level, this is where now you're seeing these smaller countries now looking like they're doing better.
Like they have their own DNA, if you like.
They create a DNA. They create, they strengthen the academies, and the national teams are also exposed. And this topic would take the whole day.
Now, how much of that do you think has got to do with administration, and especially the tenure and changes at Football House? I ask this because when you make a reference to Morocco, I think one thing that is very clear and straightforward about Morocco is that there's been continuity from the time that they started. There was a blueprint, a strategy to say this is where we are going. And if at all there were any changes at FA level and so on and so forth, it was not affected. Now, how much of that is do you think our development is affected by the elections and the politics at Football House? I say so. I'm asking this because the previous president had his own way to say, this is the way I want it. Then midstream, you stop. The other one comes in with his own program. Next 4-5 years, maybe it changes. How can we develop with all that? Do you think that has an impact?
It has had a huge impact, if I have to be honest. And I'll tell you why. The problem is, when we are I've been in FAS, the problem that's there is that we have visions that are driven by individuals, individually driven visions. Just like the vision at Celtic is my vision. And that's a fear I have also. If I'm eliminated from there, it will go on a few years and what, but if I don't have people who understand the vision and I can carry it on, and that's something that I have to work on. So I'm doing something about it, by the way. So hopefully, I can't talk about it, but in the next 2-3 years, maybe it will come out what I'm doing. But I think that's the challenge we have. So I'll give you a practical example. In 2012, I was put in charge of youth football and the youth committee. I was the chairman. So I constituted we as far as constituted a group of people, and I asked for some people to be in there, obviously. And we drew up a paper called Road to Qatar 2022. So that's a 10-year plan. And it was put on paper. And the plan was Airtel Rising Stars will make us a team. We're going to keep that team until 2022 when we go to the World Cup. And what was going to help us was the 2017 hosting of the Africa Cup.
Because we had planned.
Yes. So in our view, we were making a team for 2017. Okay, which we could keep
for 2022 Qatar,
with a view of exposing them so much to high level competition. From there, we were supposed to host in 2019 the under 23. So that was the team that was supposed to be now strengthened again. It does that. 2021, we were supposed to be at the AFCON. That was the plan in that document. The document can't be found in anywhere. I've tried to check emails, I can't find it. But there's reference to it, with our group members and ourselves, talking about the ones who were in the committee. But my point is, if there's a document like that that's done without it being driven by an individual, like I was driving that one, it should stay in the system, and either they change it a bit. Of course, you always have new ideas when you have the new executive.
But how do you compare a new administration to say this was the vision and therefore carry it, and then somebody else comes in and says, no, I also have a different vision? So
no, as long as it's not tied. The reason that people do that is because it's tied to someone. But if it's something that was done by a committee, it shouldn't be tied to anyone. If the new executive now goes into the registry and finds something that the previous executive did, and they see it and they see 5 good ideas in there, I don't see why they should discard it. They can easily just take those 5, add their 5, and make it their vision. You know what I mean? So unless we bring in real pettiness, I don't see why anyone would find something good and try and break it.
Maybe it's a little bit political, and maybe let me ask you a political question. Do you see any justification in wholesale or wholesome changes that usually happen at Football House when there's a change in the executive, usually?
I think the answer is yes and no, to be honest with you. It just depends the situation that you are in. So I know you're referring to what's happening right now. If, for example, someone like you, Eugene, you're very out there, you mingle a lot, you know a lot of people who do different things. If you became FAS president, most likely you would have a lot of people that you feel can do the job at FAS. And you would see some incompetence in the ones that are there. So I wouldn't blame you if you brought in the people who you know are going to do the job, because you've known them for 10, 15, 20 years. So you want the job done. It happens in mainstream politics as well. Yeah. But you also want things to work. So for you to become a leader, you have to be able to judge. And that's what either keeps you there or gets you out if you don't do the right thing. You know, so I feel like there's no wrong in this. If the group of people you want to bring in are better than the ones who were there, then well and good. But if you're just making changes because you hate the person who was there because they were not looking at you nicely or they chased you at some venue, I don't think it should be like that.
And how much of this so-called football politics do you think has played in terms of shaping or deforming our football?
I think it's a terrible distraction. That's why I try to stay away from it. I think there are people who are built for it and they should continue doing it.
Football politics.
Yeah, that's their thing.
But and don't you think it takes away from the main focus of football development?
I still go back to what I keep telling you, Eugene. Whether you put Kamanga in FAS or Keith in FAS or even bring back Carlo, Celtic will not change. I'll still contribute players to the national team who are good enough that are picked. You know what I mean? I'll still train my players. I'll still sell players to Europe. What does that have to do with anything? So that's why I said those who play politics, let them continue politicking. That's what they know. As we know football. So those who know football, and they're there in Football House, there are a lot of people who are passionate about football, who want to make a change. So in the executive, you see them, they're there. And we see those who are just there.
Yeah.
The difference is very clear. So I don't think, honestly, it's a waste of time to dwell too much on the politics.
Yeah. Let's talk about something that also stirs quite debate in the national team. Everybody, if you ask me, my first 11 or best 11 for the national team, I'll have my own. Kunda here, our able director has his own, you'd have your own. What influences national team selection? You've been there 9 years.
Yeah.
How
you're talking about senior because there's different dynamics.
Let's just go straight to Chipolo Polo.
Okay.
Let's go to Chipolo Polo.
There are different things that influence. Obviously, number one is the coach. He's the one who knows what he wants.
There are no underhand methods?
What do you mean by that?
By underhand methods that of selecting, I am talking about you have a player, you've got connections at Football House. I have an equally talented player, but he's not connected at Football
senior
House.
Level.
At senior national team, senior Chipolo Polo. I think that's the one that a lot of people pay attention to. So if you have a talented player and I've got connections at Football House, I have an equally talented football player in Chipata, but I've got no connections at Football House.
Equally talented?
Yes.
Okay.
But they pick on your player, maybe not so talented. Those connections, do they help?
Equally talented.
Okay, let's keep it at equally talented. I'll still come back, but let's keep it at equally talented.
I think maybe you mean the one in Chipata is slightly more talented, but the one in Lusaka is more connected. Maybe that will make sense. Because if they're equally talented,
then it's fair play. Okay, so let's put it this way. Do these connections play a role in selecting players for the senior national team?
Okay, from my experiences like this, you have the head coach, okay? And the head coach is not thinking about what Lee wants or what, the fans want, or he's looking at his CV. He wants to win. Mm-hmm. I know we're all criticizing Avram Grant right now, but I can tell you for sure, he probably wants to win more than you do, Eugene, because that's his CV. You see what I mean? Mm. It's his job. He has to, that's going on his record. So the coaches, what I know is they come from a good place, but of course the influence will come. I've seen it, and the pressure is huge. Mm-hmm. Not from fans or anything like that, but from the people that feel that their player deserves a chance. When I had Kafue FC, I used to bring players for trials. Eventually when I would be allowed to.
Yes.
And when I would watch the training for the national team, and I would feel like my player is actually good and should be part of the team. But thinking back now, they were not that good, because I had centre backs who used to just boot the ball. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at that time, I was thinking, China Mpamvu. You see how he's kicking the eyes, Chapasa, my trials. The trials finished, he's dropped. You start wondering, what did he do wrong? I didn't understand that football needs to be played. You know what I mean? A centre back has to be. Okay, so to answer your question, no matter how much influence is there, the coach will always pick at least his core starting 11 based on merit. That's my experience. There will always be, you go for a tournament or a game, there's like 20 to 23 players. There might be one or two that some pressure came in through somewhere, and normally they're not that bad, the players that are influenced by other people. Mm-hmm. But you will not see them really play at the tournament.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, my point is it could be happening, and it's most likely happening.
But have you heard of stories to the effect that some agents would influence a player on a coach because they want to be seen as a capped player at national level, because it's easier to sell them or for them to break into...
Eugene, that happens everywhere.
So it happens?
It happens everywhere. I don't think I don't have any proof of anything happening here or any agent that's doing it here in Zambia. But maybe because I've not bothered to investigate. But my point is, if you go to Nigeria, that's the story all the time. You go to anywhere, it's like that. Because at the end of the day, you're picking 21 players or 23 players out of thousands of players. So I'm not going to comment on something I have no proof at all, because it's all hearsay. We all just say it. And we only say it, Eugene, because we're not winning.
Yeah, when we win.
If we win all the games, no one will talk about there's an agent who's doing this and doing that. For me, this is all this is the challenge of Zambian football. We're focusing on the wrong thing again.
Okay, let me ask you this question. When you look at the first 11, you say that ordinarily the coach would pick the first 11 as is based on merit. Do you think or do you feel what we have is the best exceptional?
The answer is no. But if you ask me, do I think the coach thinks that and believes that? I would say yes.
That's a very political answer.
No, it's the truth.
So you don't think what we have is the best 11?
Like you gave a very good example. Just go around this room. We're all going to have a different starting 11. That's the point. So that's his starting 11. Who's going to argue? If you tell me you're starting 11 and I start arguing with you and saying, no, it's not. I mean, how does that even make sense for me to argue with what you think is the best starting 11? And if I give you the job as head coach of Kafue Celtic and you make your starting 11, that's your starting 11.
Surely you've heard that there are so many calls for people to say, we need to get rid of Avram Grant. What's your view? Should we? Must we?
Eugene, we needed to get rid of Weston. We needed to get rid of George Wandamin. Who else was there? Sven. We needed to get rid of Sven no matter what happens. Okay. It was a must to get rid of him. The problem is not the coach. I don't know how I'm going to tell you this. The problem is us academies are not doing what it requires to produce the players for the national team. And I'll be honest, I'll go further. I don't have a starting 11 for the national team, especially the back line. I don't. I can give you the front line, some midfielders. I can't pick a goalkeeper. Right now, if you ask me what's the best 11, if we're going to go and play at the World Cup, I don't have one. Why? Because we just haven't done enough.
Interesting.
As you talk about Celtic has done this, it's clearly it's not enough if we only have Patson Daka who's there right now at the team and Matthews Banda who's on the bench. You know what I mean? Maybe for the future. But my point is we keep looking at the wrong things. And that what you're talking about is so short term. I don't talk about such things, short term things, because you get rid of Avram Grant today.
And then what?
Yes, we'll bring someone else. I'm not saying it's a wrong decision, by the way. I think that's for Faz to decide what they want. What I would do myself, I will answer you after this interview.
Okay.
Because I think
On
it's
set?
unfair.
Okay.
No, not on set.
All right.
Privately.
Okay.
Because
All
it's unfair. I'm not in Faz, so I shouldn't be making statements about which coach should be where. This is like, should be an opinion just for us to share.
Do you think a local coach
would manage? If we empowered him with the right knowledge,
it's about
yes.
empowerment.
It's back to an empowerment is not just about paying him the fair amount. No, it's actually getting the right knowledge in the right coach. You know, who's going to carry our identity as a football nation.
Okay, now you've successfully sent players abroad, and obviously we know that's not easy. Your relationship with
Farmers Leagues.
Farmers.
You guys,
wow,
you guys out there think that you just get up and just let me go to England and just sign a deal for my player from Chipata, Jonathan Kalimina. Let me just take him to Chelsea. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
How many players? You know, I always laugh when I see this Farmers League.
And,
you are lucky to even be looked at by these Farmers Leagues. Because our players, most of them, are not even good enough for those Farmers Leagues we laugh at. Okay. That's just the honest truth. And I take the blame for not doing the right thing 10 years ago. Yes, I started 9 years ago. And honestly, when you say, when did you really start youth football? I would say it's around 2018 when we finally started keeping the boys together and the fruits of that will be seen in like 2 years, because the boys we started with then are now, some of them are now reaching 16, 17, you know. Some, the others are like 14, you know. So in about 3 to 5 years, you're going to see Celtic in the Super League and you'll see it stay in the Super League. You know, and that will be an example to others, hopefully, who can replicate what we are doing.
I was about to talk about your relationship with one Fred Ganute. How much, I know you hinted on it, how much of an influence has he been on you and also helping break the barriers as far as Zambian footballers are concerned in going into Europe, in joining the Farmers Leagues?
Yeah, no, there's not, you know, there's so much and not much I can say about Fred's influence on me. Basically, he's taken us to the next level. You know what I mean? I talked about the Chisamba move being $50,000, but Fred has taken Celtic from $1,000 business to a multi-million-dollar business. You know what I mean? So anyone who comes in your life and does that, obviously, I think you would have to appreciate what they've brought in. So our relationship, it's win-win as well, because I think Patson and Enoch kind of put 12 management on the global map as well. So, which is good, because that now gives them credibility, more doors that are opened and more opportunities for our player. And the pressure I've had all this time, Fred says, he kept on saying to me, we have the connections, but we need the players of the standard they require. And that's what we've been working on. That's why I say our U16 and our U14 is like the best teams we have right now. Okay.
So, seems like you've got a very good model out there, but and then you've also, there are other agents. I think in the interest of transparency, I tried my hand at being an agent and I failed miserably.
Special agent.
A special agent indeed. Now, and you were trying to help groom me and show me, but still I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Now, there's talk of some agents exploiting players. Do you hear of that, and how do we go around it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, it's not something that's just in Zambia. It's just by nature the business of being agents
nature of the beast,
is they're sharks. They have to be quick. They have to be ruthless in their business. Otherwise, you get messed up. You understand it from
I learned
the
it the hard
actual.
way.
Yeah, you learned the hard way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So to avoid what you went through, most people who are agents have to be tough, and you have to step on toes.
Yeah.
But I must say it's not 100% a must. Fred does not operate like that. And maybe because of that, he's lost out. He could have had more clients, but he's very principled in how he wants to handle his players. If you do that, then you risk, you're going to have a smaller group of players, but at least it will be quality that you can manage, So, yeah, it is happening. It happens everywhere in the world, and we try as Celtic to protect our players by always putting them under the flag of 12 management.
Okay.
So if an outside agent wants to come in, they don't stop, but they have to look at what they're offering and make sure that our players are going in good hands and they're going to the right place.
Okay.
So that's the relationship we have. But by nature, it's a very dangerous business out there. And unfortunately, a lot of our young players, especially at under 17, under 20, they fall into this trap. We see it all the time. They end up in Morocco or Tunisia. 3 months or 4 months later, they didn't get paid. They're back in Zambia. So it's out there. But we as administrators have to try and protect the players.
Okay. Now, just to shift the gear a bit, you've worked within the FAS system or in the Zambian football setup for a very long time. I would just like to understand, given what we know and have given you credit for, and we're not seeing you at that high level in terms of national football management, I wanted to find out something. What's your relationship like with Football House, with the current FAS leadership?
It's good. I've always tried to maintain a good relationship with FAS. As much as like I say, no one can control what I do at Celtic. But we play in the leagues, so we have to interact with FAS. I have a good relationship with Keith, I think, from even before. Being in the same situation where we sponsor teams, we have the same struggle. We've had the same struggle. And I've known him from before that even. We used to play Madalas sometimes together. When he would be free, he would come through. So with him, I have no issue. The previous president, same thing. We never really had I think you never saw me in public anywhere saying anything bad. I would say whatever I had to say in front of him or in an executive meeting when I was in FAS. So when you have a club, you have to be able to work with the FA. Even if there might be individuals who are not for you in the FA, it doesn't matter. I think you have to maintain a good relationship with people.
That's good. Yeah. You mentioned Keith, the current FAS president, and during his campaign, he was riding on the theme of uniting football. Yeah. And this obviously comes off the back of but obviously a lot of us feeling that there's so many camps in Zambian football. Do you think that is exaggerated? Do we really have camps?
It's not exaggerated. They are there. The camps have always been there. I think there was the Kalu camp and Teddy Mulonga camp. And I'm sure if you go back, there was the Teddy Mulonga and someone else camp.
Kasonga camp.
Yeah, that has been there. But it's I hate to say this, but it really takes away from football. And it drains me personally to even think about it. I think it's one of the things we're getting wrong. And I applaud Keith for what he campaigned for and what he's trying to do. But you see how difficult it is to do it. Because as he's trying to do it, certain decisions he might make might not be agreeable to other people, and then you still get criticism. And that's why I always tell people that the toughest jobs in Zambia, the 3 toughest jobs in Zambia, is the national president, Republican president, the head coach of the national team, Zambia national team, and vice president. Those are some of the worst jobs you can get, because you are guaranteed with time that people are going to start hating you for not even for trying your best. In other words, you know what I mean? So it's one of the reasons I was very reluctant when people kept on talking to me about.
I'm one of those who was pushing for you to become vice president, or at least to stand. Do we see you standing in future?
It's possible. I can't say no, but I feel like what I'm doing with Celtic is a bit more important than being vice president, to be honest with you. The school project that we're doing, I just feel at the moment is more important, and I can do more with what I'm doing
than being a
vice president. Because when you're at Football House as a vice president, you are the vice president of everyone, the whole country, and you have to make sure everything is balanced. So to get that balance is such a difficult thing. You sometimes end up losing yourself as a person,
Okay.
So in future, maybe when I'm done, I feel like it's not everyone who needs to be vice president to change football. I think just what I'm doing, and other people, I get people who come to see what we are doing and they want to do the same. That's my part to do in Zambian football at the moment. Okay. Get players out to Europe. That's my part to do. Yeah.
As we get close, I know a lot of people are going to shoot me if I were not going to ask this question. Mm-hmm. Do you talk to Patson, and how often do you talk to him? And what's he saying about his performance? He's deep. We can call it a deep for now.
We do talk, but I think I've in the past I've spoken more. I've gotten calls from Enoch more than from Patson. Birthdays, Christmas, once in a while, if there's something I want to ask him, or he asks me, we talk. But it's more like, it's really like a father and son.
Okay.
Like a strict father and son, that relationship where you miss your dad, but you're not going to call him unless he calls you, or if you see him, what I mean? Or the other way around, a strict dad, so you don't really interact with the kids, and that's the stance I've taken. I like to give the boys their privacy. I don't want to be in their face, telling them what to do or anything like that. No. I think when we do chat, we encourage him and just say, hey, you've gone through this before. It's part of football.
Are there any indications of him moving from Leicester?
He'll definitely move one day from Leicester. I don't think he can be.
Okay. That's a very political answer again. Do you think Leicester is the right club for him today?
Right now, I think yes. I think for this season, yes. I think he needs to be where he's comfortable first of all, and he's kind of set base there. And the fans were on him, and that wave kind of passed. And I think right now he needs that moment of exhaling first, and then reboot.
Okay.
I would say that where he is where he is the best place to reboot for now. If it doesn't work, I would say that end of the season, I would advise that he moves somewhere else and sees if. Because sometimes it's just combination of players, the coach, or the style of play, or the league itself just doesn't suit your style of play. It happens. Yeah.
How's Enoch?
Enoch is better. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say he's fine now. I mean, what he went through is as good as you died and then you came back with no abilities. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like you were a superhero, you died and then came back with no superpowers. Mm-hmm. So it's a very difficult thing. I think, imagine how difficult it was for us who had the news.
I'm failing to.
Exactly. So imagine for him, he wakes up every day, dealing with that. And that's why, for me, I try as much as possible to shield him from. I'm always requested for interviews with him. Kafue came once when they were doing the Under-17 Africa Cup and asked for him to be on the panel, and he declined, obviously. He doesn't want to be on social media or anything like that. I think he just needs a few years
and he deserves that, I think, for especially with what we've gone through, and we love him. We will never talk about Zambian football without talking about Patson Daka, Enoch Mwepu, especially the new generation, if I can call it that. Speaking of which, and I think I should have asked this question earlier, what happened to that national team? The under 20 national team that won the World Cup. I mean, the AFCON, and went to do very well at the World Cup. Suddenly they're all over. What with your insights, what do you think happened? Where did we let it go? You had that project of Qatar 2022 with them in mind.
Yeah. I think there was a bit of a disturbance. Like you said, when new executives come in, I was in there, but I wasn't in charge of youth football anymore. So what we had kind of planned changed a bit. Not to say whatever was being done was wrong. I think we won a lot of COSAFAs with whatever system they had put in place. But unfortunately, that team, like I said, we started with Patson and them in 2012, 2013, 2014. But the trick is, as the team is going up, the cream rises and you keep adding. Because there's no way you can say from under 17 you can have one team all the way, all the goalkeepers, everyone, all the way up to the senior. It's not possible. It's not possible. So the team was good to win that, and mostly we won that because of a simple formula, which all these teams like Zesco, Red Arrows, that's what they use. Even in Europe, that's what they use. You know what I mean? As their system, you scout good players that have good chemistry. You keep them together for 3 to 5 years, and you start getting results for 3 years, and then you dip.
Okay, and then so you add more.
Even at world level, if you see, it always happens. Like Germany won the World Cup. After that, they couldn't even qualify or something. I can't remember. Brazil, the same thing happened. France, the same thing happened. Yeah. But all those teams, Germany, when they were asked, this team, they said they started 9 years ago. You know what I mean? If you look at our 2012 win, all those players were the key players. How many players were in 2007 Africa Cup who played in the 2012?
Chris Katongo and the field.
No, Chris was older then.
Around 2007?
2007 under 20. Mayuka, Surizu,
the under 20.
All these, Chisamba was supposed to be, but was dropped. But all these players are from. But it's not the whole team that went to 2012. That's my point.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So that's you have to keep producing. You have to create a pool. And that pool comes back to us, the academies, to create quality players so that the pool is bigger.
You keep feeding, yeah. So as we wrap up, if you had the power to fix just 3 things about Zambian football, what would they be? Just 3 things that you wanted to fix, what would they be?
One, I would get academies to be a bit more formalized. So that way, if we, let's say, have an association for academies, if there are FIFA programs, the TD knows where to direct them to, because you have leagues, you have teams, elite teams, so, and that's why I say that the environment has kind of been made. We have the elite league, which was started. This year, it hasn't kicked off yet. I don't know, due to some delays. But that's like a start as well, where you have like an elite academy league, because that's somewhere for a coach to go and see players who are under 19 or under 15. So an association that regulates academies, and the quality should be high, and that way, if there's any, FIFA funding or any, they know where to direct it and make sure that the basics we're talking about are all there for those academies at least. And we should have at least one elite academy in each province.
Okay.
So that's number one. Now, number two, I think what Keith is trying to do, to get away from this whole groups and focusing too much. They'll be there, as long as you give this one a ticket and you don't give this one, there will always be someone who will not be happy. But it shouldn't be the thing that's in front, Number three, I would sit down and actually find an identity. We don't seem to have an identity as a nation of how we play. There was an Indaba that was done last year.
I remember there was an Indaba.
I am not seeing the effect of that Indaba.
Maybe it could be there's no continuity, or maybe the paper is lost.
Even immediately after that, we never really saw it. Immediately after that, we had under 17s that were going to tournaments and just playing long balls, playing, whatever works. And that doesn't work for Zambia.
Okay.
How we won the under 20 in 2017 was we kind of played naturally because the players had stayed together. What I feel is our national identity, which is quick football. We use speed, skill, and quick passes, and then use the speed for the wings, where Chilufya is running in the wings.
We've always had a winger. We've always had a winger.
So we are not like,
left,
we
right.
can't say we are like Brazil, you know what I mean? Or we can't say like we're Spanish. Ours is more like a hybrid. It's a combination of like, passing football with speed, running football, Yeah. So I don't. Coaches should know better how to technically put that and make it our identity. And a style of play. But we have to have that. And if we don't have the people within, maybe we should look out there for experts to come in and look at our football and tell us, okay, looking at the physical attributes of your players who are not very big in stature, but are very skillful and fast, this is the kind of football that we should be playing. And then after that, now get the coaches to buy into that and start using the same system from under 15, which now we have national team, and maybe even in the league. Because right now our league football is basically pump it to someone strong, holds the ball, lays it off for someone quick, and they finish.
They don't even finish, by the way. They don't score.
When they can.
When they can, yeah.
So those are the three things. I think since...
Now, those were my questions.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel you wanted to share from your end? Is there anything you feel I may have left out and you feel it should have been said?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can't talk about football without involving the government. I think I would appeal to the government. Hopefully someone hears this. That
Who deliver the message.
that please allow some of us who are passionate about football. And there are a lot of them in the provinces. I was listing some academies in the provinces which are run by passionate people who are just sacrificing. And it's not like they are wealthy. They're just sacrificing everything they have with no benefits. Government can help us. I was talking about academies in each province and facilities. We have facilities. People will say, no, in Zambia, where are we going to put for? There's no space, there's no land. No, there is a lot of land.
What type of help, maybe if you're specific?
What Mr. Mofia did, Chisala, the partnership he has with Lusaka girls, that's what we need more of.
Maybe elaborate on that. We invite Mr. Mofia Chisala next time.
For example, was approached by Munali Secondary School because of that arrangement we have with the players to help rehabilitate their pitches. And then we went further and said, okay, I can actually rehabilitate this. Maybe before I took that artificial pitch to our stadium, it was sitting in a container for 4 years. So I said I could, if we make an MOU, I could put my artificial pitch on one of your pitches and make the other one natural, Anyway, long story short, good document taken to the Attorney General, checked it out, changed some things, the wording and, to fit the government. Good document, and then it was shot down by someone in one of the offices, either at PS or director level, because they were not sure who this person is. There must be some deals going on, that kind of thing. But if there's a deliberate policy by government which I think is there, we always hear the president talking about PPPs and,
Yes.
But this is exactly what we're offering. A partnership where we have good facilities, we can rent them out, and the school can also earn money for painting their classrooms and all that. Eventually, Mnali's got a big piece of land.
Yes.
I did a 3-phase proposal. 1, to do the pitches. 2, to do the dressing rooms and stands. 3, to do a hotel and other facilities like 5-a-side, 7-a-side pitches. These are the things that we need, If this can happen, then we start having facilities in every province. If Chizongwe or Katete Secondary School partners with Katete Rangers, then they have a good facility where they can put a ball, put a fence, start having proper grass, go to the council and ask for a roller compactor to make it flat, get some sand, make it flat. This is how...
These are facilities now.
The facilities are already there. We don't need to start looking for land or anything like that, like the way I had to do. There are facilities that are available in all these areas. So that's the part of the government to do, make it available. That's why I said the environment has to be there. Once that is done, so let's say FAS identifies one strong academy, Smiling Kids in Chipata, and connects them to Chipata Day as, a partner. And then the government, allows them to have it. And then through CDF or whatever, I don't understand how the politics of the money of politics works, but if they can help even make it better, the stadium, maybe there's funding that can be given to the facility and the academy. Then the school team becomes strong. You have a stronger provincial team, and it's a chain effect. So this is something I thought we should talk about, because I feel government, the president has already given the direction of partnering with the public
and private sector
so people should just make it happen. That's what I would say, because a lot of people have the capacity to at least create these facilities that are minimum standard. So I thought that's important.
Wow, there's a lot that's to be said, but Lee, Master Lee, thank you so much for making an appearance on Extra Time. We'll certainly call on you next time that we feel there's something of utmost importance that we feel you need to share.
I think this was the first one, so apologies to the people for it being all over the place. I think we're trying to cover too many things at the same time.
But I think
next time
let's
just pick 2 topics and focus on them.
Yours is a long story to tell, and so we'll break it down in that way. We'll consider this as another part 1. Because I'm owing another person another part 2 for Chimuniam. It was
personally, I would like the people in the provinces and those who are really passionate to learn from what we've done at Kafue Celtic. It's taken me 23 years. I don't want other people to take long.
How open are you to people coming to see your facilities?
Very open. I really want people to do this. And sorry, I don't know if we have a minute, but people don't understand the concept of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a market environment in Zambia for football. Because if it's just Celtic and Atletico that are exporting players, then we are reliant only on Canute and whoever Atletico uses. But if we have 20 Atleticos and Celtics in Zambia, then you have a player in Slovenia, in the farmers' leagues you're talking about, and soon there'll be an EPL, there'll be people who say, where's this Lamek Banda from? Or from Zambia. Which team? Manzi Valley. They'll check Manzi Valley, there's nothing there. Check. They search. Manzi Valley Football Club. They check and they find that there's nothing, and then they'll see, Kafue Celtic. In other words, you create interest by having more. It's not competition.
The more the merrier.
Yes. With football, with academies, it's not like a bar, where if I open a bar here and you open next, then I'm losing half my customers. No, that's not how it works. With this one, the more we are, the bigger the market we create. And that's what has happened in West Africa. There are so many academies. An agent or a scout can get up from Europe and go to, without any arrangements, I can tell you, can go to Nigeria right now, have a tournament by the weekend, and end up with 2 players to go back with to Europe. But in Zambia, we're always asked to do tournaments and stuff, but who am I going to call? If I call one of the Division 1 clubs, the players there are hitting 30, some have retired from big clubs, and you know what I mean? Like, who am I going? I can't put together 8 strong under-20 teams unless I involve the FA and they give us provincial teams. And even then, it's not guaranteed. So please, I appeal to people out there to learn from us. I am very open. I make time for anyone who's interested in doing an academy. I want your journey to be much easier and much shorter than I have had to go through.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. There you have it. We were talking to Lee Kawanu, the proprietor of Kafue Celtic. This has been Extra Time, Zambia's premier sports podcast. Be sure to check us on our channels. That's the YouTube channel and Facebook page with the same name. Until next time, this has been Eugene Piri. Have a pleasant one.